everyone, it's Linda from LyndaCreates, and today I have my next drawing that I did, and I'm going to embroider it. And this is the pattern I have. It's a swan. And what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to trace it. So let me just show you real quick. I'm starting off with the piece of fabric. It is part of a thrifted tablecloth. I'm not sure what they would call it. Can you see the pattern? There's like a tulip pattern on it, but the fabric itself was just so wonderful, and I thought that the flower pattern might be nice as the background, very subtle. So what I did was I have some washi tape down on the paper already, so I'm just trying to tape it down. And you could see the drawing underneath it. I could take it to the window and put it up against the light outside, or I could put it on my iPad with it white on the background. I'm going to try tracing it just under this really good light, and I'm using my friction pen that is removable with heat. So I'm just going to go ahead and trace. Let me bring it in a little bit more so you could see the pattern down there. And the pattern actually shows up better on the camera than it does in front of me because I'm coming at it at an angle. I'm just going to finish doing the outline of that I can see very easily. And one of the reasons I also chose this fabric is because it is thinner, so it's much easier to see. What I'm going to do is lift up so I could kind of see where I'm going. That is everything. So there is my drawing, and I'm not doing the outer circle because that is going to be, okay, there's the drawing. Let me pull back a little bit. And there is my tracing of it on the fabric. Actually, if I do it this way, you could see my drawing better. And I want to see, oh, there. Now, if I tip it at an angle, you could see the tulips that, I don't know what they call this type, damask, maybe? But the fabric itself has a woven pattern on it, like the fancy tablecloths. And it's nice and thin. So let me set that aside. I'm using a 6-inch hoop. So I'm trying something a little bit different this time. I'm going to try doing a single strand of black is going to be the outline, because I'm going to have the swan remain white like the fabric, and it's mostly going to be the outline . So I'm just going to keep doing this stitch around. It's just a little back stitch. And I'm going to go, the wing is going to be embellished, but the swan itself will just be will be simplified. what I'm trying to do here is make the stitches go in a different angle. So not just the color's different, but the direction is different to add visual texture. So I'm fanning. These stitches are going to fan out, and I started in this tiny section, and I'll show you what I mean about fanning out. So I'm going to start from the center. So this is going to be like, this whole area is going to be a fan look. So the stitches are going to go from the center point outwards, and I'm going to do guiding stitches so that my directions, the stitches stay straight, because it's really easy as you're going for the stitches to get into different angles. So it's going to be, I guess a fan look is the best description of this. And so now that I have the basic foundation of these stitch angles, I can start filling in. I like the way these scalloped edges looked, so I'm going to do something similar on these. I'm always thinking about the fact that they're feathers, so I'm trying to keep them kind of feather looking. I finished the lily pads. So now I'm taking 3 shades of a pale aqua color, and I'm going to work on creating these ripples of water as a swan is pulling through it. Let me show you on the drawing. So it's these little lines here. I'm just going to do like a running stitch with some gaps in it. I want it to look like ripples of water. So can you see, I know it's very pale, but it just goes along there. So some places it's a continuous line, in some places it's a broken line. It's like, it'll make more sense once I add the other colors. So let me keep working on that. Okay, so there's the first batch of soft ripples. I'm going in now with the second darkest blue that I have. And I'm just going to kind of follow the lines, and you'll see what I plan to make it so that these kind of ripple outwards a little bit. So if you think how water looks, it falls away in concentric circles. So I'm just, again, randomly doing long and short stitches, some gaps. And what I want to do is, like this color, make it a little bit longer, or continue on a little bit further than where the light blue was. And what you can do actually is, if you want, you can do a second layer. So this is water ripples, so they can be very random. Over here I did 2 rows, and I'm stopping. I want it a little narrower up here and a little more color as it goes out. On this row, because it's a little more shady near where it goes under this swan, I'm starting closer, this darker color closer to the swan's body. And again, I'm doing it like a start and stop kind of stitching, different lengths, but trying to stay kind of close to that light blue line. But then as we get over here, where it's further away, and it would ripple outwards more. I'm taking it a little further. And now I'm going to turn around and I'm going to come a little closer. I'm going to come between those stitches. And the whole idea is to create a look that is like water ripples. I also, again, because it's right underneath the swan, I want to do a few extra darker lines where it's swimming to act as a shadow. Sort of doing a back stitch where the bird is touching the water. This is like adding a visual weight to the bird where it touches the water. It would be disturbed a little bit more, and it would be a little bit darker. So it's just telling your brain that this is where the bird is. Okay, so now I'm going to continue out with the ripples. It's that thing where you're making marks on fabric. I love that concept of your mark making. So that's basically what the needle and floss is doing right here. It's just making marks on your fabric. Now I'm coming in with the darkest shade of the blue, and you want to use this very sparingly. It's sort of like the dark colors, like even on the bird's wing, the dark colors are accent colors. So, like, this is looking too much like I was trying to stitch a straight line. I'm going to come back and add a second row. So it sort of breaks it up. So it brings attention to it, but you don't want too much of it. So I am looking at this darker blue as in the terms of shading a drawing. And now I'm thinking in terms of longer and shorter stitches, because as it pulls away further, the ripples would be longer. I'm just going to stop there. Actually, I am going to come in a little bit in between these ripples of the other color, just because when you look at the water ripples, they blend and separate and come together again, and it's a beautiful thing. So now I'm starting up here, and again I'm trying to do a few longer ripples. The other thing I can do too is add just a little bit of darker shading along the bottom of the swan, just again to add some weight, not too much, but like a cast shadow. So what I did was I just added a little bit of the dark blue here, because if the light is coming from this direction, it would be a little bit darker over here than it would be over here. I'm starting on the cattails now, and I have this goldish color, and I'm working with 6 strands, and I'm just going to do some nice long stitches fairly close together. And I'm just going to do the 2 side ones a little shorter. I think just 3 stitches should work. Okay, there's the tops of the cattails. So I've now switched over to 3 strands of the same gold, and I'm going to come down with the little stem, I guess. So I'm going to do a wrapped back stitch. So once you've done a back stitch, wherever you left off, you want to come up in the middle of the top stitch, or the last stitch that you did. Now, without going through the fabric, so you kind of turn your needle around so it's not as sharp, and you go and you wrap it under and over. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing coming up on this stem. And normally you'd complete one stem first before going down the next one, but I kind of changed my mind mid-stitch of what I was going to do. But this creates what I think is the cleanest long stitch that you can make. So just like that. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. So I have the cattails done, and I'm going to work on their leaves right now. I'm using a shade slightly darker than the green that I used on the lily pads. So I'm just going to do a satin stitch at I'm using 3 strands. And what I want to do is I will actually want to go a little bit more at an angle. I am going to pull very gently and exaggerate this angle even more. And the reason I'm doing this is that I want the leaves, well, one, the fabric is so soft that if I just go straight across back and forth, it will pull the fibers of the background fabric too hard. And second is I want to add a little texture. The beauty of this kind of stitching is that the color is great, but the fact that you could play with texture as well as color is so wonderful. And if there's any gaps, I'm just filling them in as I go. And I'm just going to continue with the leaves on both sides. I'll come back when I do this leaf because it turns an angle, which I think will be fun to do. But on these straight ones, I'll just go ahead and finish those the same way. And I'm going to start on this one, and I'm going to do it slightly differently. I'm starting from the bottom, and I'm going to do guiding stitches. So I could kind of see where I'm going to go, right? And the angle that I'm trying to repeat. Okay. So for the vertical part here, you could see the angle, and now I just need to fill in those gaps at the same angle. And now I have this that folds at an angle. So what I'm going to do is change the direction of my stitch to show that it's turned. So up till now it's been going at a diagonal like this. I'm going to now take it straight up and down just to add a difference to this. And I'm still going to do my guiding stitches. So now I could do my filler stitches. So I finished stitching everything. I took it out of the hoops and I ironed it with the fairly hot iron, but from the back side and fairly quickly, so I didn't want to smash down the stitches. But the friction pen, all the markings I did are all gone very easily. So that is my swan. I'm going to put it back in the hoop and I'm going to line the back with felt, but I just wanted to show you real quickly how this turned out. So I've found another piece of very thin fabric because I felt like this needed a little bit of a backing. It's very, very thin. I thought 2 thin fabrics would be a nice way to secure this. So now I have it, and I have a lot of excess fabric. So if we flip it over, what I want to do is I'm going to stitch this down. So I want to cut away a lot of the excess, not all of it, but leave about, I would say, what is that, 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches, just enough to, and gather it inwards, catch it with the needle and thread. So there it is. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a needle and thread and start gathering it. So I'm working on the back side. I have my needle and thread, and I'm just going to start doing a gathering stitch around the edge that I cut. But you're going to pull it, so I have my thread doubled up, so it'll be stronger when I pull on it. So you do want to keep it as flat as possible. Take a quick look from the front. Looks good. And you can tie it off in a knot. And I would say, I guess some people will pull it from both ends. So from where you started. So there you have it, my swan drawing. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed that, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe buttons, and then hit the bell to be notified when I upload new videos. And please share this video. It really helps my channel out. And I will have these drawings. They'll be available soon for purchase on my website, LyndaCreates.com. That's Linda with a Y. So please visit my website, check out other videos on my channel. I hope you enjoyed that. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!